wedding happening. It was a very quiet wedding. It wasn't much. When you get to know it's a wedding, there wasn't much noise, there wasn't much hustle and bustle. And the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha, he said, "Oh Aisha, the Ansar like entertainment. So why don't you bring some entertainment? It's a wedding." And one narration said, "Why don't you bring some windows to sing for them?" In other words, weddings, just like Eid, happy occasion, and there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of light entertainment. However, I mean, the asl, if you look at the Prophet ﷺ, we know that generally his demeanour was seriousness. And but from time to time he did also like to laugh. You know, the Prophet used to smile a lot. In fact, one of his companions said, "I did not see anyone smile more than the Prophet ﷺ." So smiling is a sunnah. You should be always smiling wherever you are. And he used to from time to time laugh as well. And this is important because life is full of hardships, life is full of struggles, and not all the time can you be happy all the time, because things get you down. You look at things that are happening around the world, it gets you down. And if you didn't let off steam from time to time, what would happen? You'd get depressed, right? You'd be in grief all the time. So it's a human need to relax from time to time, let off a bit of steam, have a little bit of fun. So let's look at the Prophet ﷺ with his family. And in fact, Sayyidina Umar said, he said a father or a man in his house should be like a child. In other words, you should be, everyone in the house should be relaxed around you. No one should be kind of in fear. Oh my God, he's here. Let's all leave the living room, go into another room, like some of us do when the dad comes home. So the Prophet ﷺ, one incident, two of his wives, Aisha and Sauda, they were at his house, and Aisha cooked something called harira. And harira is basically flour cooked with milk or fat. And she said to Sauda, "Taste my dish." And she said, "I don't want to eat it." She goes, "No, you're going to eat it, or I'll force you to eat it." He said, "I'm not going to eat it." She said, "You eat it, otherwise I'll smear some on your face." So she didn't eat it, so Aisha got some harira and smeared it on Sauda's face. The Prophet was in between the two, and he kind of pulled his knees back and kind of got out of the way. In other words, indicating, get her back. So Sauda takes some of the harira and smears Aisha's face, and the Prophet starts to laugh. One time, a Sahabi comes into the Prophet's house, and he sees the Prophet on all fours, and Hassan and Hussein are riding his back. And he says, "You are riding the best back that it could be," in other words, the best ride it could ever be. And the Prophet says they're the best riders. So it's obviously the grandfather playing with his grandchildren. The Prophet ﷺ, in one instance with Sayyidat Aisha, he raced her. The Sahaba were with them, and he told the Sahaba, "Go on." And he said, "When your marks get set, go." Right, so they had a race. And Aisha beat the Prophet ﷺ. She said, "Oh, I don't want to know you." Sometime afterwards, the same thing happened again. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Well, okay, when you lose, what do? Rematch." Right? You say, "Okay, let's have a rematch and let's do it again." And this time the Prophet ﷺ beat Aisha. And he said, "It's one each." It's one each, right? One each now. That's it. Khalas. Leave it alone now. In one instant, there were Abyssinians, and in their tradition and culture, they used to do this kind of display or dance with the spears. And the Prophet ﷺ allowed them to do it in the mosque. And Aisha had come out. Aisha's house, if you look at where the Prophet was buried today, that was the Hujra, the house of Aisha. So obviously it was right next to the mosque. You come out the house, you go straight to the mosque. So she came out, and when she saw what was happening, she wanted to watch. So the narration says she actually put her chin on the shoulder of the Prophet ﷺ and watched. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Have you had enough?" And she said, "No." She didn't say, "I'm very busy, I've got nothing to do." He stood there until she said, "Okay, I've had enough," and that's when he left. So subhanAllah, even in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, we see instances of enjoyment and having fun.